What's up, everyone? Welcome to the RUDIS Wrestling Podcast special edition with Mr. Kyle Snyder. Kyle, how's it going, man?
It's going good, man. Excited to be
Good.
on.
Yeah. So, I don't know if you got to watch it, but I got to do one of these with, I guess, a guy who, from my understanding, had a big impact on you as a child. And that's Cary Kolat. I had a ton of fun. What was you? Did you start with him, or what's the background with him?
Yeah, so there was a lot of clubs in Maryland that I would bounce around at.
Okay.
And so I would go to this. I started out with the Warriors. That was just like a youth club. And then I went to this place called the Mount Airy Maniacs, and I learned a little bit from there. And then as I started getting better, we started going to like different dual meet tournaments. And that's the first time that I saw like Team Kolat. And I saw these guys from Team Kolat, and it was like filled with basically the toughest wrestlers you could find in Maryland at all age groups.
So, how old are you at this age? Are we
I'm in
talking
like
like
fifth
second grade?
grade, fifth grade,
Fifth grade. Okay.
yeah, fifth, sixth grade. And the Team Kolat, they used to wear a white singlet with just gold Kolat across the front of it, and I'm like,
Nice.
oh my gosh, it looks so good. So uh, I was like, I want to go train there. My dad talked with some of the parents of the kids that were training there, and it was like 50 minutes from my house. So I started going to the club and training and practicing. So I probably started going when I was like fifth, sixth grade, and then I would train there periodically all throughout high school. So
Okay.
yeah,
And was that like a close drive, a far drive,
it was like
medium?
50 minutes away. Not like,
Okay, so
yeah,
not
not bad.
terrible, decent commitment. Okay, so I actually, and I'll just let the listeners in. You came and did a camp for me. I want to say 2 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
And I was sad because you ditched out because you're very mature and you need to go get your workouts in. But I wanted to grill you, and so this is kind of my opportunity now. Um, one of the things I always did growing up was, and I didn't realize this was uh, influential in my life until like way, way, way later on, is I always read books about great athletes, and I loved like hearing about what made them tick and what made them what it was. And so, with you, obviously, you're on the other side. You're way younger than I am, but obviously, what you've accomplished is great. And so, um, one of the things that I can't pinpoint in your life is periods of hardship or toughness. Because since I guess the first time I watched you was I'm sure we'll talk about this at some point, but the J'Den Cox Kyle Snyder series at Fargo. That was kind of when you came on my radar. What was there a period of hardship for you or adversity that I feel like every great athlete goes through that at some point, but I can't pinpoint it with you.
Well, I mean, in regards to wrestling, I would probably say when I got pinned in the finals of my freshman year
Sure.
of college. So, I mean, I have an outside of wrestling, it's been my life has been pretty amazing. A couple people dying in my family or things, just normal things like that. But there hasn't been any disasters. Like any injuries or anything that's like super shocking. So, outside of losing a wrestling match, there hasn't been
Yeah.
anything too crazy, but I would say that
So
was like the biggest
nothing
thing.
like that's a little like later. I don't want to say you're grown up by then, but
Right.
you're kind of grown up. I mean, like, so when you were a little kid, there was no like. I mean, I was thinking in my head, and who knows? I don't know. I literally know nothing about your life for Jaden Cox, Kyle Snyder. I was thinking maybe you were a bigger kid, so you always had to wrestle like the older guys in the wrestling room, and you got your butt kicked a lot or something. Is there any of that type of stuff, or just you were just the best guy in the room from day one?
No, yeah. I mean, I I was always bigger, and my 5th
Okay.
when I was in 6th grade, I weighed like 110, so I was like a,
That's
decent
that's not
size.
huge.
That's not huge, and then my 7th grade year, I weighed like 160, so I gained like 50 pounds
Oh, geez, in one
in
year?
1 year, and then
Oh God.
in my 8th grade year, I weighed like 210. So,
Oh God.
yeah, so
Whoa.
I gained like 100 pounds from 6th to 8th grade, and
Okay.
that I was wrestling older kids my entire life. My dad didn't wanna, like, he would take me to a whole bunch of tournaments, and he didn't want me to wrestle kids my own age because usually I would win. So he would like enter me in
Uh-huh.
the older age division, older bracket. So I lost a lot growing up. But then once I got to like, I would say 7th grade is when I could not only beat 8th graders, but then I could go and like wrestle in open high school tournaments, and I would do well against
Okay.
the uh, high schoolers as well. But really, it was in the practice room where I took most of my beatings. It wasn't out on the competition, but I was just wrestling probably the best guys that Maryland had to offer near my weight class, whether they were older than me or younger than me, and uh, that's where I took most of my beatings.
Yeah. So who was the Maryland superstar? Say when you're in 6th, 7th, 8th grade, who's the Maryland superstars?
I used to wrestle Alex Pagnotta. He wrestled
Okay.
189 at McDonough, and
Okay.
I used to train with him a lot. I wrestled Shane Malam. He also went to McDonough. We would
Damn, I don't
train
remember any of those dudes.
together.
I pride myself on being a wrestling historian. I thought I was thinking I knew everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know these dudes.
I trained with Nick Shank. I don't know if you know him.
Okay, I know him. He's from Delaware, right?
Yeah, he lived in Maryland though first. He lived in Maryland first and then went to
Okay,
Delaware. Um and then I wrestled with Kholat. I wrestled with like a lot of coaches. As I when I in
sure.
8th grade when I got bigger, especially I was wrestling with a lot of coaches. So,
Yeah. So how about this one? Let me throw a name out there, a Maryland name. And I'm thinking age-wise, it probably matches up pretty good. How about Bobby Bowman? You ever wrestle with him?
oh yeah, of course. Yeah, we wrestled.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was he a Colette guy or no?
Yeah, he wrestled at Kholat a
Okay.
decent bit. Yep. Almost
Nice.
every I would say 95% of the good wrestlers when Kolat was in Maryland had trained at Kolat at some point.
Oh, that many. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
everybody
I
was
figured,
there.
yeah, I figured there would be a certain, obviously, every state's different. I don't know the dynamics in Maryland, but I also figured there would be, um, a certain amount. Pennsylvania is close enough, or Virginia is close enough. I thought maybe there'd be some people that kind of diverged and went other places from Maryland.
Right. Yeah, I mean, a lot of Pennsylvania kids actually came down to Kolat. That was like,
Okay,
yeah, that seemed like it was the hub at that point.
but how about Chance Marsteller? He came right. That's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
couple years younger than you.
No, same age.
So, oh, same. Oh, okay. I didn't realize
Yeah.
that. I guess you didn't redshirt, and
Right.
okay.
Yep.
So let me ask you this then: high school match. Who's the better high school wrestler, Vincenzo Joseph or Chance Marsteller?
High school had to be Chance for sure.
For
Chance
sure,
was
for sure, for sure.
for sure, Chance and Vincenzo is a beast. Vincenzo is a beast,
Yeah.
but Chance in high school, I mean, I don't know if anybody had ever seen a high school wrestler like Chance, and now it seems like it's becoming way more like each
Oh
year
yeah.
there's a guy like that, Spencer Lee,
Yeah.
and then Stevenson and Kirk Follett, and
Yeah.
now there's guys every year like Chance. But I felt for me, I never saw a high school wrestler like Chance before. He was
Absolutely.
amazing.
Matt and I were doing our scuffle podcast this morning. I don't know how much you paid attention to that, but he was saying that the Chance and Vincenzo final, it was more than just the Southern Scuffle finals. It was for PA bragging rights on who was the better. And I was dying laughing because I don't know, I didn't follow Pennsylvania high school wrestling at that point. I had no idea who was better. But Matt swore it was a huge freaking deal.
Yeah. Well, Vincenzo was younger and lighter too. I bet you Vincenzo looked up to Chance. I
You
mean,
think so?
yeah, probably.
Oh, okay, okay. What about Noel? You think Noel looked up to Chance? Or Noel, I feel like he's kind of an anomaly. He probably didn't look up to anybody.
Yeah, that's true. He probably looked up to Kale, and that's it.
And that's it.
Yeah. He probably thought when he was wrestling 103, he probably thought he would pin Chance. He's crazy.
That's hilarious. Okay, so let's get into this J'Den Cox and Kyle Snyder thing because I'm gonna obviously give you from my perspective, which is just one of the many perspectives around it. But lived in Columbia, Missouri. I knew J'Den Cox from the time he was 11. I realized, a couple years past that hey, this kid's kind of different. He's really good at wrestling. He's kind of mature for his age. And then I had a few of my college teammates who, when they were doing their graduate school, they would go over and volunteer coach at the high school. So J'Den had a workout partner. And so when when someone was saying that J'Den Cox could lose at the cadet age division, I was like, well, what kind of pot are you guys smoking? Because there's no way J'Den Cox is at the cadet age division. Give me a freaking break. And then I know you guys went one. I don't recall who won Greco and who won freestyle, but you guys went 1-1. And now, obviously, you've both been world champions, so you've achieved at the high levels. Both 3-time NCAA champions. So, what do you remember from that series? Are those the only two times you guys wrestled prior to college? Give us some feedback on that series.
I think we wrestled a total of 4 times at Fargo, and we went 2-2. One year, like in it, the first year, I don't know. The first year, one of us won Greco and one of us won freestyle, and the second year, one of us took. I think I took third in a style, and then won the other style, and he won the other style and took second or something like that. So
Sure.
I think we went 2-2, but
Well, are those both cadets, or was that a cadet
no,
one cadet year, one junior?
one cadet year, one junior year. And
Okay, got it.
I was thinking the same thing about myself when I was a cadet. You know, when I was a cadet, I was like, man, there's no way there's a cadet in the country who could beat me. There's no way. And
yeah, that's fair.
and then I heard of Jaden Cox, and I was like, Jaden Cox. I mean, I was like, I'll watch him film of him. I watched him film him. I'm like, wow, he looks good. He looks good.
Yeah.
He's not a normal freshman 220-pounder. He looks like he can move and he can wrestle. So the first I think the first year I think I beat Jaden in Greco. And after the match, we were weighing in for freestyle, and I was sitting down with like the Team Maryland guys, and Jaden just like becomes friends with people real quick. So
Yeah.
he already he already thought that we were like good friends at that point. And we just wrestled a match against each other. I was like, I'd never even really talked to him before, but he came down and he sat down next to me, and he was like, Kyle, I'm pretty upset about that Greco loss. And I was like, yeah, I'm sorry, man. And he was like, yeah, I was gonna win that match for my mother. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, man. And he was like, yeah, but I'll get you back in freestyle. Don't worry. And I was like, who the heck is this guy? Like,
so was that a friendly jab, or was that like, I'm gonna get you for my mama?
it was a friendly jab.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
So
and that's kind of like the way Jaden's always been. Even today, he's real competitive. He doesn't like losing. So if you beat him, he wants to come back and beat you. So yeah.
Yeah. So I remember watching those matches. Obviously, I don't remember how old exactly I was. Probably somewhere right around the end of college, or just after there. And then so obviously your guys' tracks really progressed kind of together. But where I would like to go first, and as much as you want to have input on this, I would love to hear your thoughts. Because I love the whole path of youth wrestling progression, how kids should develop, when they should develop, when they should be pushed, when we should pull them back, et cetera, et cetera. And obviously, I realize all kids don't mature at the same rate. And I didn't know you, but from the sounds of whatever around you says you were very mature at a young age.
Right.
But you're six. So I can't remember if it was junior, senior. You decide you actually move to the Olympic Training Center, and I believe obviously Henry Cejudo did it way back when, but I think you were the first kind of, I don't know if you would say modern era or of this new batch that ended up making that decision. So what was that decision like for you, with you and your parents? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Were you scared?
Yeah, I always did well being away from home. Like I really didn't get homesick too often. I spent the night at a lot of friends' houses and went to different tournaments and stuff like that. So I was kind of used to being away from home. Um, it didn't really seem like it was too big of a decision when Coach Zadok and Coach Slay, they watched me wrestle at the what?
That's funny. He said it didn't sound like a big decision. Yeah, you're only leaving home when you're 17. No big deal. I mean,
I don't know why
it's huge.
Looking back, it was a big decision. But when we honestly, the conversations that me and my parents had, we were just like, do you think this is what's best? And they were like, yeah, we think this is what would be best for you. And I was like, okay, then we'll do it. I'll go train there. So it really wasn't like we didn't even really have too many conversations about it. It seemed like it was just one conversation and seemed like the right thing to do. We
Damn.
liked Coach Zadok
Wow.
and Coach Slay, and my parents knew that at that point I was taking wrestling really seriously and I had good results in high school. So, and it
And
my
you are the youngest brother, correct? That's
no,
right.
one younger
Oh,
brother.
you're not. And then
Yeah,
you have one older.
yeah, one older. Yeah.
Got it. I knew
And
that. I'm an idiot.
at that point, really what sparked the whole thing was I didn't have anybody in my high school room that I could practice with, and it was getting difficult to, like, try driving to different RTCs and, like, trying to
Mhm.
locate wrestling partners. So, moving out to the Olympic Training Center, they had Kilgore, Reeder, Jack Jensen, Garrett Ryan, who was a high schooler, he wrestled at Columbia,
Yeah.
Brooks Clemens from Atlanta, Georgia. So there was
Oh, yeah.
a lot of guys that were around my weight class that I could train with. So, um, the whole time I was there for 11 months, and it was a great experience. I got homesick probably the first week I was out there because it was just me. No one else was there because the senior world
Cool.
championships were going on during that time
Okay.
period.
Sure.
Yeah. But then, uh kinda fell into, like, a routine with practice and different tournaments and stuff like that, so it was a great decision for me. I don't know if it's right for every kid because, like, I was the type of kid who I didn't drink, I didn't do drugs, I didn't stay out late. Getting good grades in school wasn't ever a big issue for me, so all that type of stuff that could have a big effect on your training and then just your development,
Mhm.
uh like, those weren't really a problem for me, so if it is seems like it might be a problem for someone else, then I wouldn't advise them to do it because you have a lot of free time and the responsibility is pretty much on you, but
Yeah, absolutely. So did you live on campus there, or did you,
I lived on campus.
have you lived on camp? Did you have a roommate?
Yeah, Garrett Ryan was my roommate.
Oh,
Yeah.
and he was a high schooler at the same time as you, or is he just a little bit older?
He was a year older, he was taking, like, a gap year in between
Oh,
high
got it.
school and college, yeah.
Okay, cool. And then so you're there for 11 months. I don't believe you didn't even compete at the high school level there, right? You just wrestled internationally.
I wrestled in the Dapper Dan, but other than
Okay.
that, no.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Uh, and then you went right to and you won a junior world title that year, correct? Or silver?
The year before I won the Junior Worlds, the year after I took bronze.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So then we get into you picking Ohio State University. Let's go through the recruitment process and all that because again I didn't really follow you closely, so I don't recall what it was like.
Yeah.
Who's your top schools? I mean, I'm sure it's obviously the who's who. And then what made you pick Ohio State?
Yes, so the top schools for me were Virginia Tech, Penn State, uh, Ohio State, obviously, West Point, Maryland, and then Oklahoma State kinda came in late, but I liked Oklahoma
Sure.
State. And I was pretty
So
much
okay, wait, let's take a step back. So who did you say eighth grade Kyle Snyder
yeah.
going to practice? What college shirt are you wearing?
I'm wearing probably Maryland.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Home. Okay.
Just because 'cause I'm from Maryland. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
wearing a Maryland shirt. Yeah.
Was Santoro the coach then, or was it already McCoy?
I think Santoro was the coach while I when I was in 8th grade, but when I was in high
Okay.
school getting recruited, it was Coach McCoy.
Cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's funny. People are now starting to wear Wisconsin stuff, but I always thought it was funny. During the last administration here at Wisconsin, literally almost none of the kids in my club would wear Wisconsin stuff, and I always thought it was a little bit weird because people, even the fact that they're not the best, that's just where you grew up, that's who you are.
Right.
Like you're saying,
Well,
you're wearing a Maryland wrestler because that's who you are.
what'd they wear?
I would say if I had to go down the list, I would say Penn State 1, Iowa 2, Oklahoma State number 3, which I don't like that one either. Missouri was probably number 4. So I was, and that was obviously my influence a little bit. And you know what? Ohio State isn't, they're not that well represented. And I don't really know why, because it seems like they're pretty cool and they're pretty popular. but they're not very well represented. So I would say those would be the top 4. Now, since Bono has got in, now I see quite a bit more Wisconsin stuff than I had. We still have quite a bit of Penn State and Oklahoma State, which, I don't love. I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. And a lot of Iowa, which that's the kids are getting a little tired of the Iowa stuff right now.
Yeah, it seems like that a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So
I remember Iowa was probably the T-shirt that I saw kids wearing the most growing up.
So did you have no? Did you not lean that way at all towards Iowa?
No, I didn't lean that way.
Really?
No.
So like you're a kid. Like, what do you think? And I don't know if you've even like thought this way, but like when you're a kid, like what do you think of yourself? Are you like I'm a banger? Are you not have any of those thoughts that way?
I thought of myself as a shooter. A shooter,
Really? Okay.
yeah, and someone who
So
doesn't get tired.
So like John Smith or Kale, probably.
Yeah, John Smith or Kale. Yeah.
Okay.
But it wasn't for me. It wasn't even like I started liking coaches probably later on in my like in high school, like sophomore, junior, senior year. But growing up, it was just whoever was winning the NCAAs,
Sure.
So
Yeah, that's fair.
whoever was doing cool moves and crushing people in the NCAAs, I was like, all right, that's who I want to wrestle like. That's who I saw. Yeah.
Yeah. Back in my day, now I'm gonna date myself. Like I'm a wrestling historian. I know a lot about the history of wrestling, but it was all from reading magazines. There was no flow. I couldn't freaking turn on a match in high school and watch. I couldn't even watch Iowa versus Oklahoma State or Iowa versus Penn State. You couldn't watch it. It didn't exist.
Right.
So I got all my stuff from reading magazines, and even when I'm later in college, you're just finally starting to be able to watch stuff live and that kind of stuff. So I also didn't really have any strong influences. I would say Kale was in college when I was in high school, so that I kind of watched him probably more than anybody. But I didn't have any of those strong influences.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And when I got older, it was John Smith. When I got older, I was like, I didn't realize how damn good John Smith was. He was like amazingly like I try not I don't sometimes I feel like I sandbag on people too much, but John Smith was like unreal level good at so many different things.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know if that's fair. Okay, so let's go back to the college recruiting process. Ohio State. So how do you get there from all that huge list you gave us?
Yeah, so Virginia Tech was my top school for sure.
Really?
Yeah, by far.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
They were the first school to recruit me. First school to send me a letter, all that different stuff. So
yeah,
and I went down for like different camps and met the coaches and talked to all of them. And I was really close with Coach Roby, who's obviously the head coach now, and Coach Dresser did a good job. He's a good recruiter. So, but my dad, I wanted to commit. I had already visited.
Whoa.
Yeah, I had already visited all the schools. I visited West Point. I visited Penn State. I visited Maryland on unofficials. I visited Virginia Tech. And then I wanted to commit to Virginia Tech bad. And my dad was like, "No, you're not going to commit." And
Wait, I'm sorry. Wait, what year is this? Are we junior, sophomore?
Yeah, junior year.
Okay.
So, and my dad was like, "No, you're not going to commit until you visit Ohio State." And I hadn't even really thought about Ohio State. And I was like,
"Really?
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about him." And he was like, I was like, "Okay, well, I'll go visit Ohio State, and then I'll just immediately commit to Virginia Tech right after that. So that'll be fine." So I go to Ohio State, and I visit, and I meet Coach Ryan, Coach Lou, Coach Jaggers, Coach Ross were there, but that's obviously a good coaching staff. Every place has a good coaching staff for the most part. And then the RTC was like the biggest thing for me because they had Tervel. They put on like an RTC clinic that day. So in one day, day I wrestled Tervel, JD, Pasillo, Gavin, and Heflin.
Dang, that's a heck of a lineup. What was your record that day?
Not good. I got beat up.
Tell us you got JD. At least you got JD, maybe. Maybe you got Keith.
JD was strong as no. Keith beat me the worst, man. Out of everybody, crazy. He arm dragged. I mean, like 8 takedowns to none in like a 2-minute.
Oh God,
it's crazy. I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
Yeah, Heflin. I mean, Heflin doesn't shoot that much, so that was
Yeah.
probably the best go. But
Well,
so then we drove home. As we're driving home, I'm like, man, I really like this place. They got Bo Jordan and Nathan Tomasello coming in. I thought we'd have a good team. Logan's already there, so I thought we'd be able to win it,
mhm.
or at least be in contention to win it all 4 years that I was competing. So then it really swayed me. So then I had to call all the other
Wow.
coaches and tell them that Ohio State was the place. So
Wow. Okay.
yeah,
Man, isn't it so funny? Just the small things that could change history. Like, think about if Kyle Snyder went to Virginia Tech, how different the world would be. The
right.
world would be, and it's like your
The
dad
wrestling
saying,
world.
"Well, the rest, the whole world, it's all connected. It's all connected. Let's not minimize the whole world." Um, I mean, who knows, right? You might have a different wife, or who knows?
Yeah, that's true.
Ohio State might have recruited a different 97 pounder, and they might have found their wife and then had the next like future 4-time NCAA champion. We just don't even know. We don't even know how far this could go.
Right.
Uh, um, so okay, well let's go. What about Penn State at that point in time? Because I'm thinking they're probably just if I'm doing the math right. They're already winning NCAA titles by the time. What about that? Didn't you? I don't want to say did you not love, but what was it that just didn't click for you with Penn State?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. They wanted me to be a heavyweight, and I told them
Okay.
there's no way I'd ever wrestle heavyweight.
uh,
So, and they're like, "No, we think you can be a heavyweight." Like they already had Morgan McIntosh at that time period.
okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Uh-huh.
so and I was like, "Yeah, I know, but I'm gonna be a 97. Like I'll wrestle him off." And we were like, "We just don't have any money for a 97 pounder." And I was like,
Dang.
"All right, well then I can't come." And then I like Penn State a lot. Obviously, Kale
Yeah.
got that like just aura about him. Like everything he
Yep.
says, you're like, oh my gosh, it's Kale Sanderson. Wow, you know. And then
Mm-hmm.
they have Varner's training there, David Taylor, Ed
Yep.
Ruth. There's a lot of guys to wrestle with, Quentin Wright. So, but so I wrestled 97 my freshman year, and then I'm like, oh, well, I don't want to wrestle 97 anymore, and then end up going heavyweight. So the exact thing that they
Ah.
said ended up happening.
That would have been too funny. If I was Kale Sanderson, every single time I walked by you, I would go, not a heavyweight, huh?
Right,
I wouldn't stop. I'd just keep digging it in over
right.
and over. That's too funny. You didn't think you'd be a heavyweight.
Yeah.
Um, wow. Okay. So you go to Columbus and you wrestle right away. Was there any talk about redshirting at all, or was it just like I'm going to wrestle right away? That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, there was no talk about redshirting at all.
None. Okay.
Yeah, I know especially since I went to the training center and I was developing quickly there. I kinda, like, had a year in a college room before I even went to Ohio State with the partners
Sure.
that I had, so I knew I was gonna wrestle. Yeah, I knew I was gonna wrestle right away. Did you
Nice.
redshirt?
I did. I needed it bad. I actually lost. Um, I lost 10 matches my redshirt year.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. So I
crazy.
I was just super young. I graduated high school when I was 17.
Oh, wow.
So I was really young. I was really physically immature. I had my redshirt year. I had some bright spots. I beat some good guys, but I would also like I could wrestle the pace I wanted to wrestle for a match, but over the course of a day, I would generally wear myself out. So I had a whole bunch of tournaments where I was like third place or fourth place or fifth place or somewhere in there at the open tournaments. Where I'd have a couple good matches and win a couple good ones, but then I would, end up losing to not terrible guys, but guys who, what I would be later were not very good.
Right.
So yeah, for me, I really need that redshirt year. And I actually, there's a lot of people right now. I guess I would say the flow guys because they're the ones that have the biggest voices because they do the radio show twice a week. Um, they're really proponents of not redshirting, and you kind of said it earlier that there's more kids like you who don't need that redshirt year now because they're really good. There's a lot more good clubs. There's a lot of kids utilizing the OTC. There's you probably don't even realize it, but the cadet and junior world team process is so much different than it was. I mean, I made the junior world team in 2004 and we didn't even go to the worlds. That's like,
Really?
we didn't do a camp. We didn't do anything. It was like, okay, here's a
Wow.
plaque. Here's a plaque. Go home.
Right. Right.
So there's a lot more kids that are ready to wrestle as freshmen. But man, I think just from my experience and from seeing other kids while I was coaching, that redshirt year, there could just be so much growth. I mean, that 18, 19-year-old period, kids can get I can't tell you, I got 20 points better in 1 year. I mean, it was crazy.
Right.
So I think it's huge. And obviously some people don't need it, but yeah. So like you didn't really need it.
Yeah, it
But
just like you said, it depends on who you are. Some guys definitely need
absolutely.
redshirt, some situations. I mean, a lot of it depends on who's in the weight class. I mean, we have
Yeah.
Sammy Sasso at Ohio State.
He's good. Oh my God. I watched him at Midlands. He's really good.
Yeah, and then but Micah Jordan's a 49-pounder, so it's like, why would you ever wrestle
Hmm.
Sammy when you got Micah in the weight? So
And you can't really go up or down because
right,
you got kind of below and Hayes above. So it's not like, okay, just move one weight class.
right, right.
Um, yeah. So do you spend much time in the room with those guys or no?
Oh,
Or you
yeah,
just
a ton.
focused on Kyle? You do.
No,
Okay.
yeah, a ton of time. Yeah.
What's Sammy like? Because you know what, I've been watching him for a while. I'm impressed with him. I think he's really good. Uh,
He's
what's he
tough.
like?
He's a tough kid, he loves wrestling.
Yeah.
He's the kid after practice that when everyone's, like, cooling down or playing a game, he'll, like, be challenging dudes to, like, 1 takedown. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
There we go.
he loves wrestling. He's very talented.
That's actually where I was as a freshman when I was redshirting. I still love wrestling. Like I was. Now I'm gonna be sounding a nerd here, Kyle. It's fine. I can be a nerd once in a while. Like I was so pumped to get to work out with you last summer. Like that made my week. I mean, how many
Yeah,
times you get to wrestle with Kyle Snyder in your life? Not very many. So I'm like a wrestling nerd like that. So, but my freshman year was Mike Ironman, who would then later go on to coach J'Den Cox and Jaden Ironman, etc. But he was actually, they didn't have RTCs at that point, but he was essentially a senior level athlete training out of Missouri,
okay.
and so he didn't really have a lot of other freestyle partners. So he would just say, "Hey, you want to stay around and wrestle with me?" And I'd be, "Yeah, sure, whatever. I'll stay around and wrestle with you." So I would do like 2 practices a day, just because, and it wasn't like real negative or he forced me. It was like I wanted to be in there. I wanted to wrestle. I loved it.
Right, right.
So yeah, I see where Sammy's coming from for sure.
Yeah, very
Has he
similar.
so has he challenged you to a takedown yet?
No, no.
You
Hasn't
squish
challenged me.
him.
He challenges heavy. He'll challenge, like, Gavin Hoffman. He'll challenge heavier guys.
Oh,
Yeah.
I bet he sneaks one in on Gavin once in a while.
No, Gavin's too big. Only if he lets
Too
him.
big?
Yeah, Gavin's too big.
Ah,
Yeah.
damn. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Um, where would we go? You know what? I got ADHD, Kyle. I can't help it. It's fine. I don't know. We were somewhere in your freshman year. But wait, let me go back because I forgot something. You say Oklahoma State comes in late, and you liked Oklahoma State. Was it just too late for you to even consider, or did you take a
Yeah,
visit
pretty
to
much.
Stillwater?
No, I never went to Stillwater, but I had a
Okay.
lot of conversations with Esposito on the phone, and
Okay.
I really liked him. And I obviously John Smith, everybody looks up to him in the sport,
Yep.
so I was like, "Man, that'd be cool," but it was too late. I was already, like, real close to making the decision, and I wanted to make it early. So, yeah.
Did you made it as a junior?
I made it January 1st, my junior year.
Oh wow, that's real. That's super duper early.
Yeah, it was
Okay,
early.
well, let me get your take on this since we're going ADHD mode. I hate early recruiting, and you just said you committed early.
I would
And here, go ahead.
No, I would hate early recruiting if I was a college coach, for sure.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I mean, that's part of the reason why I'm not, uh I don't really know if I wanna be a college coach or not is because of
Okay.
the recruiting aspect. I love wrestling, and I love competing, and I love practicing, but I'm not in love with calling kids and talking to them for an hour, all this different type of stuff that the coaches have to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, um, but yeah, for coaches, it's gotta be difficult. Like, it just keeps on getting earlier and earlier to when you can talk to kids
Yeah.
and recruit kids, and if you don't start early, then kids are gonna be making decisions, and you're not even gonna get a chance. So, but why do you hate it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, so essentially, I hate it from both sides of the spectrum, and I think pretty much every college coach that I've talked to, they don't really like it. They just feel forced to do it because if they don't do it, someone else is going to do it, and then
Right.
it's almost like you said, Kyle. You said, "Well, why?" I said, "Why'd you like Virginia Tech?" And you said, "Well, they were the first people to talk to me," and there
Right.
is that like, I don't even. And you know what? I went to Missouri, and that was also the first visit I took, and I loved it. And so there's something to that, like I don't know, like first mover type of thing.
Right.
And so they feel the need to put pressure on kids because here's why. Because if they leave all their money on the table, other kids are going to get scooped up. And if they're saying, "Hey, I'm just going to use a guy from my club, Keegan O'Toole, we'll offer you a full ride," and then Keegan waits a whole year and then says, "I'm going somewhere else." Well, now they have all that money and they have no one to spend it on because everyone else has been scooped up. So now the college has to put the pressure on the kids and
Right.
say, "I need you to make this decision." And some of them are a-holes, and some of them are like, "I need it by the end of the weekend." I mean, I'm
Yeah.
serious, and it's like, and so I have to advise my kids like, don't that's crap. Don't listen to it. They'll it'll if you're good enough, it'll still be there next week or 2 weeks from now. Um, and
Yeah.
so there's that pressure, and then obviously as juniors, and you're a kid who was good early, who turned out to be good late. There's a lot of kids who are on both the other ends, right? They're
Right.
really good early. They end up being not very good for whatever reason, whether it's bad lifestyle habits, they got pushed early, who knows? And
Right.
then there's the other side, kids like myself. I mean, Kyle, as a second year cadet after my sophomore year of high school, I didn't place at Fargo.
And
And so,
freestyle?
like, yeah,
Oh my goodness. Wow.
I know I went 4-2. And so like, I wasn't that literally, I wasn't that good. And so, if the current recruiting era is in my era, I'm probably getting out of luck because all the money's gone by the time I actually get good, all the money's gone.
Right.
Um, so I would have been, I kind of would have been in a weird situation. And so that's kind of like I see a lot both sides of it, and I don't think anyone likes it, but I think people are, college coaches, and therefore the recruits will be forced to do it until the NCAA changes it in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
I think it seems like it's just gonna keep on getting earlier and earlier, though. It doesn't seem like it's gonna go back the other way. And I
yeah,
definitely I didn't have any coaches tell me, like, if you don't commit during this time period, we're gonna take your offer away from you. But yeah, I mean, I'd have the same response. Well,
yeah,
I'm gonna make the decision whenever I feel like it's best for me to make the
yeah,
decision. If you guys don't have the money for me, then I won't be going there. So, yeah, I would never let that dictate where I go to school. But it does stink
yeah.
for kids because, I mean, it's
But
a
I mean, you're also at the top of the food chain. So
right,
like from your perspective, you can say that because listen, if I'm a college coach and I have a chance of getting Kyle Snyder, I'm gonna save a few bucks for him. As long as it takes. But if there's a guy that's 7, 8, 9, 10, that's
right,
not like can't command that, and he has that offer, they feel semi obliged to take it.
right.
I
Yeah.
feel.
Yeah. No, I think you're right.
Okay. So hey, so let's go back to freshman year, Ohio State. You move in. Who's your roommate? Dorms.
I live with Tomasello every year.
Oh, really? Do you still live
Yeah.
with him?
No, no, I don't live with him
Oh,
anymore.
wait, you're
My
married. You're
cell phone.
married.
I have a fiance.
No, you're engaged.
Yeah, I'm engaged. So I live
Okay.
with Tomasello, just me and Tomasello. Then I live
Okay.
with Tomasello again. Then I live with
Okay.
Tomasello and his twin brother. Then I live with
Tomasello's got a twin brother.
yeah, he's got a twin brother,
What?
but he doesn't look like him. They don't look
Does
like
he
each other.
wrestle?
No, no, he doesn't wrestle.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Interesting.
I live with Tomasello, Miles, and my little brother.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Um, All right. And so freshman year, let me go back to one really early moment in your freshman year, and you got to tell me what you feel about it.
Okay.
And this was I brought this up to you before, but let's get full disclosure. Everything you wrestle with Tommy Rollins. He was a big deal. He's two-time NCAA champion, right there to make the Olympic team. Made the world team. I think got a bronze medal.
What's your favorite
Uh,
topic to talk about?
Well, I don't get to podcast with him like every week anymore. So, and when I get my chance to take the shot, I got to take the shot. That's like if I was Kale, I would pick on you for telling me you weren't going to be a heavyweight.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think? Going in the workout, what are you thinking? Are you thinking this is Tommy Rollins? He's going to kick my butt?
So I think that I had already made the world team at that point.
The senior level?
Yeah, I'd already made it. Was yeah.
I thought this was on the other side of your freshman year.
No, it was on the opposite side. So I think
okay.
I think it was either I had just won the US Open or I had just made the world team. And I was like, I was thinking I'd never wrestled Tommy Rollins before, so I seen his face on the wall a bunch, and he had a great career. But I was like, I just wrestled Jake Varner and just wrestled all these other dudes. I should be able to wrestle with Tommy too. And Tommy hasn't been wrestling much. He's got a real job now, so I should definitely be able to wrestle with him. And then I wrestled with him and drove with him, and I was like, oh, he's good. Definitely, obviously has wrestled at a high level before, but gas tank was probably the issue.
Oh, so you gassed him out fast, huh?
Yeah. I gassed him out in the drill. That was the problem.
In the drill. You know what? Hey, have you ever watched the movie Prefontaine?
No, I haven't watched it, but I've seen a lot of his quotes. I like his quotes.
No. Oh my God. Okay. So let me rephrase that. There's actually, so funny enough, they made 2 movies about Prefontaine. I can't remember which 2 companies were, but they were like, they made them both in the same year. It was really weird. They both had the same idea. Who knows what happened, right? So there's 2 movies about Prefontaine. There's one called Prefontaine, which is not as good as the other one, which is called Without Limits, which I would recommend to you. I think it'll be one of your favorite movies. It's really fantastic. So anyways, one of his tactics, I think it's the 72 Olympic trials. And this is so now listen, you're not old yet, so you don't have to use this. But this is a tactic I use against college guys. So hopefully the college guys I work out with aren't listening to this. So the tactic is the 3 mile it's 12 laps around the track. And so the coach says the strategy is you're going to go 1 second faster each lap, right? Because the other guy's got a good kick. He's going to sprint at the end. And if it's a sprint, he's going to beat you. Right. So you're just going to keep on speeding up and the other guy's not really going to realize that you speed up because it's so gradual. But by the time you get to the end, he's going to have nothing left because you just been speeding up this whole time,
Right.
So when I'm old now, so when I wrestle with these college guys, and I know, hey, if we go live, they got a lot of piss and vinegar. So when I'm drilling with them, I'll slowly pick up the pace of the drill. So they don't even really realize it. I'll start sparring with them a little bit. I'll start pulling on them a little heavier. So that way, by the time we get to the live wrestling, they don't got the same pop that they would have had normally. That's my strategy.
That's a good strategy. It's a good strategy. I like it.
It is.
I would realize that. I would take a step back. And I would say, I'd say either go live or stop drilling.
No one's ever done that. I mean, you are Kyle Snyder, but no one's ever done that to me to this point in time. I think I do it like in a playful way.
You're scared too.
You think so?
Probably.
Huh. I got Jaden Cox. He doesn't like to admit it, but I got him when he was a freshman.
Wow.
And he doesn't like to say that. And listen, he kicked my butt. I went back to wrestle with him when he was training for in 2016. So he's training for the Olympics. He kind of, I scored a couple points, but he pretty much kicked my butt.
Yeah.
He was good. He's the Olympic bronze medalist.
Right.
But I got him when he was a freshman. I used that tactic. It was a longer go. I started a little slower. I turned it up, and I gassed him out. And I got a few sets of back points. And J'den doesn't want to admit that, but I got him.
Wow.
One time, J'den, I got you. I'm never gonna get you again. I understand that, but I did get once, just once. That's all I need.